Hello, everyone. I'm here today with a friend, a new friend, someone who I met at his event, Terry Derstine. And Terry has an organization that was started due to a passion to help others because of an experience that he had in his life with his family. And Terry represents, and I have your mailer here, Terry, which I just received recently. Everybody can see that. Terry's organization, which is an amazing group doing some amazing things, is called Sweatshirts of Hope. And Terry, I know you gave me an early interview when we were at the event, which we put out, about your organization and where it started and why it started. But can you tell our viewers a little more about that?
Yes. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
We started, we started Sweatshirt of Hope in 2013, but 37 years ago, our daughter started with migraines, and the doctors fed her opioids like M&Ms. She'd go to the emergency room sometimes 2-3 times a week in her younger, 15, 16 years old. And they just kept giving her more opioids. And by 22, she was addicted to opioids. At 29, they started tracking hospital and doctor shopping. And they cut her off cold turkey. After all those years of opioids, cut her off cold turkey. And a friend of hers told her, a druggie friend told her that if she went on heroin, she wouldn't have migraines, which she doesn't, but it's a poor choice. She had a child that was 29 years old then, but she did have a child at 20 years old, making some really poor decisions, but she had felt no value anymore. She kind of just really was lost, dropped out of high school in senior year. So anyway, she was just really struggling. We raised the first child, and then that child is 35 years old. And now she had another child from another guy. She is 19. So she was adopted by somebody that we know from church. And they're both struggling because mom abandoned them due to drugs. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long journey. So it's 37 years ago it started. And when she was 15, she's 53 years old now. And just haven't spoken to her for 5 years. We think she's up in the Allentown area somewhere. Don't know exactly how she's doing, but God has put some people in her life that are trying to help her. We hear a little bit here and there. So God's amazing. And for many years, I just really struggled. But now I know in 2013, God gave me a vision to start Sweatshirt of Hope. Within 1 hour, Thanksgiving morning, 2013, I laid in bed, cold, snowy morning. And within 1 hour, God gave me a whole vision for Sweatshirt of Hope. The letters in Hope are broken because we're all broken. God loves you is a line underneath our Hope logo. So you're always loved by God, but it may not be the true God. Then we have a cross in our logo, and that's Jesus died on the cross for us. It's a simple way to share the gospel. It wasn't something that I came up with. It's something God gave me.
Absolutely.
So I had that vision in 2013, wrote it down on Thanksgiving Day, told my wife, put it away. And I said, Lord, I can't do this. We were in debt from a business that didn't work out. Our daughter's struggling. We're raising a grandchild. It was heartbreaking. So I put it away, but God just kept bringing it back to me. And then I reached out to a friend of mine, John Yost from WBWN Radio, and asked if I could come up after he went off the air at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I took my vision up there, gave it to him, one piece of paper. And he read it. He said, "What are you going to do about it?" I said, "I can't. I don't have time. I'm in debt, and I'm working all kinds of crazy hours." He said, "It's clear vision. You have to do it." And I think it was at around 2 months, every day he poked me. He didn't push me. He poked me. Text me, call me, or email. "What are you going to do about it?" So he said, I said, "I can't." So I did print. After 2 months, I printed 94 sweatshirts, getting them on my back. Since that, we gave out over 12,000 sweatshirts around the world. So, and the way to salvation is in every sweatshirt pocket. So, and it asks you a question on the back: if you die today, where will you spend eternity? And there's steps to accepting the Lord. So it's been a long journey. And for many years, we just struggled. But now I think the last 5 to 10 years, we finally have peace. God gave us peace to be able to work through this because we're focusing on helping other people that are struggling. Exactly. It's not about us. And we don't want it to be about us. It's about sharing the gospel with people.
It's a much bigger mission. And,
Absolutely.
And Terry, when we spoke the first time, I commented, and I'll do it again, God never puts us in a place unless he has a plan for us. Mm-hmm. And, you went through unbelievable adversity. I can only imagine the challenges for your family at the time, you and your wife, raising a grandchild. It's unbelievable pain and sorrow at a specific point. But out of that adversity, out of that pain, out of that sorrow, God brought you to a point where you have now helped thousands and thousands of people because of what you experienced with your own daughter.
Right.
And this is the way it works. This is what we see. So perhaps you can discuss a little bit about your events and how that all works out. Because I was amazed, Terry, with the size and the traffic in your event. And the prayer tent was filled, the music. It's just an amazing event that you put on.
Well, that all started. I was driving from a trade show in Javits Center, New York City, coming out 80. Sun was shining in my face, just praying. And all of a sudden, God gave me another vision to do an event that would have music and everything would be free, and food and nonprofits so people can go get help. Because our first call for help, for 2 years, we didn't call anybody that we knew our daughter was definitely in addiction. We didn't call anybody because if we went to Penn Foundation, their local recovery house, who would see us? What would it cost? And would we as parents be blamed for her issues? So we didn't go anywhere. We just buried it. And we go to church every Sunday. We were very involved in church. People say, how are you doing? Oh, we're doing great. Yeah. And it was a lie. We were dying inside. So after 2 years, the Lord spoke to my wife and I, separate parts of the church, same Sunday. I'm walking through the hallway and somebody said, how are you doing? And I said, doing great. Came home and I told my wife, I said, doing great. Our daughter's in Arizona rehab. And we're saying we're doing good. I said, we're living a life of lies. She said, well, the same thing happened to her in another part of the church. So Monday morning, we called our pastor and met with him. Nobody knew it. And he had prayer for us the next Sunday and for our daughter, and felt like crawling under the bench. Because here we are, the first person in a local Mennonite church admitting we have a drug addict. And we had 5 people came up to us afterwards, all struggling silently, didn't tell anybody. And one gal was struggling with depression. She was on medication, but she was afraid to tell her husband. So it gave them freedom, a safe place to go and talk to somebody that just admitted to the congregation of 600 people that we have a drug addict in our family. So it was heartbreaking. I had, over the months later, had different people say, why? One lady, she was quite a bit older than us. She says, I know what you're going through. And I said, what do you mean? She says, oh, we sent our son to Colorado. Nobody knew he was in drugs. And he's doing well now. I know who he is. And so it's been heartbreaking. But anyway, excuse me, God gave me that vision to start an event in 2018. So I was chair of outreach at our church. Mm-hmm. And I shared it with a group, and they said, God gave you the vision. You don't need the church, but we'll help you. So that was heartbreaking. But the best thing that ever happened, because now there's no church involved. This is a faith-based organization with no affiliation with any church. So we can do what we want because we stretch the boundaries when we have rap singers coming into our event, which a lot of churches would not, and I wasn't in favor of either. But now I understand some of these rap singers that came out of the pain that they went through, addiction and all that. So in 2019, I started interviewing people. After early 2019, I started interviewing police and pastors, all types of people in the community that I knew were really involved in the addiction recovery type thing. And it was amazing to see. And even one of the police officers, he had dealt with some depression and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he was our main focal point. We had a pastor's breakfast, and third week of September 2019, we had our first event on a church property. Then we had one through COVID in 2020 on a church property. Some people were not in favor of it that were on our team, so they walked away from our team. But the local police chief said, no, we need it more now than ever because there's so many people hurting. abuse in the home, addiction in the home because they couldn't go anywhere. They were stuck in their house. So we did it and had signs up following CDC guidelines. And he said, if anybody struggles with that, they can tell them to come to see me. I'll handle it. So that went well. And then we started hearing things that people would never walk on the church property because they've been hurt by the church. So in 2019, we set up a 1,000-seat tent next to the Franconia Heritage Restaurant in a field and held it there. And that was amazing. Well, we went from 4 hours for our event in 2019 and 2020 to 4 days, which we realized that was a mistake.
Yeah,
I got COVID through the whole thing. The police chief got COVID, so we couldn't even be there. But it all worked out. We learned a lot. And now 2021, 22, 23, 24, and 25, we've been on this property across from Jesse's Barbecue, 23-acre property that's owned by a local business that they've been trying to sell it, but they can't sell it. So I guess that God wants us to be on that property. So it's been amazing. We had 6 police departments involved last year, 76 nonprofits, several churches. Churches have been my biggest struggle to get involved. Then we had about 71 business and individual donors to cover a cost of about $200,000. The food is free. Sweatshirts are free. The music's free. Then last year we added a car show on Sunday. So it's all God. It's not about us. I mean, we could have never orchestrated this in our life. I mean, no matter. And there's people coming into our lives. I mean, I met with a gal yesterday. She's going to help me be assistant manager for the event because it's all me. Pretty much the board is busy working full-time jobs. And then I just met with another fellow last night that wants to do outreach. He wants to do events. I said, I can't keep doing events. I'm 77. I can't keep doing this stuff. So I need help. So it's been amazing to see how people are coming into our lives, and then we don't offer it. Nobody gets paid.
Right.
The people that we've talked to now said we'd offer something. Both of them refused. They said, no, we're not going to be taking money to share the gospel.
Isn't that amazing, Terry?
So anyway, it's exciting to see that people are passionate about helping, but just about every family has something, maybe not the immediate family, but they know friends or somebody that has somebody, either an addiction, could be sexual, it could be emotional, it could be mental, other issues that are happening in lives. But they're not sharing it. People are struggling silently and they're committing suicide because they are afraid to tell anybody.
Yeah.
So suicide rates are way up, especially on younger people right now. Suicide rate is really high.
And especially since COVID.
Absolutely, much worse.
Yeah. Our society changed because of that. And, the things that you have just described, first of all, your organization like ours, I said, there can be no egos in this organization.
Right.
Obviously, you don't have any in yours.
No.
It's all for his purpose. And
absolutely.
You have listened and you have acted and you have done what you've been called to do.
I will stop you there and say that I was slow to answer God's call because I felt I wasn't qualified. And with the encouragement of John Yost, and since that, with encouragement of other people, I've been speaking different places, and I keep saying, I don't want to do it. My wife says, stop saying you don't want to do it. God's calling you to do it. You have to do it. And I never was up front in my life until I was 70 years old. And, I never was in front of the church or anything. So now this is my first podcast. I've been speaking at different churches, different other events.
Yes.
Just sharing my story. But I just feel now that God's calling me, we live this life for a reason. So now I need to tell other people, it's okay if you don't feel good. It's okay if you have an addiction. It's okay if you need mental health medication or abuse in the families. It's hidden. I mean, I'm working with one fellow right now that's been, he was beaten as a child. He's 50 some years old now. He was beaten as a child all his life because his dad said, I didn't want you. Your mom wanted you. Mm-hmm. Now he's in prison right now. The trauma is unbelievable. A lot of women have been brutally raped. We're finding out, my wife and I will meet different people. We say we're not counselors, but this is what helped us work through some of our issues. Pray for peace. It took us years. We prayed for peace for years. We finally have peace now, but we didn't have that for years. Lay awake many nights, not sure if somebody's coming in to harm us because our daughter wasn't paying her drug dealers or whatever.
You've been through a great deal, and sharing those experiences with others obviously has led many others to open up. And
Right.
but going back to your inactivity initially with your calling, our attorney Charlie Arts, we just did a podcast with him, and he did a program called Go. And essentially what the program was, when you hear the call, you go, you don't hesitate. And I have to say, I am guilty of the same hesitancy, Terry. And I don't always go. And there's something right now that I've been hesitant with that I have to go with. But it's an important lesson for us to learn and, to be able to move forward with what we're called to do.
And I think we need to encourage people. When somebody says, God gave me a vision, encourage that person to do it. And don't let up, just like John Yost, almost every day for 2 months. He didn't let it go. And he didn't push me. He just poked me. So I think if somebody knows what your call is, if you shared it with somebody, they need to encourage you. And I wrote a book, Helpless and Hopeless, the story of Sweatshirt of Hope.
Yes.
And that was one of the ladies where our daughter was in a recovery house, she was a former addict as well. And in prison. And she said, you have to write a book. Nobody writes from a parent's perspective. They always write it from people coming out of recovery.
Yes.
And I said, I'm not an author. I hated English. I said, I can't do it. But for 3 years, she didn't give up on me. Finally, I put it, and then I had an excuse. I don't have the money to do it. So then I met with a friend, and he said, well, I know 2 women that went through sexual abuse. They both wrote books, and they didn't have any money either. So he connected me with them, and we did Amazon self-publishing. And it's been amazing. We gave out probably 1,500 books over the years. And, but that lady didn't give up on me either. So I just want to encourage people, don't give up when somebody says that God gave them a vision. Just encourage them. It's in God's timing.
And, what I want to do now, Terry, is be able to help you and help promote your organization now. As far as your book, as far as the organization itself, helping support your organization, getting involved with your organization. How can people do that, Terry?
Well, they can go to our website, sweatshirtofhope.org, and there's you can sign up for the newsletter so you know what's going on. We do probably about 6 email newsletters a year, and then we'll do 2 or 3 mailings that will go directly to the house because some people are getting too many emails. The other thing is you can go on there. Just send a note to me and say, I'm interested. I just had a gal send me a note yesterday or a couple of days ago about her testimony. She wants to write a book, but she doesn't know how to start. She's in a recovery house right now. Powerful testimony, a lot of abuse in her life. So then for our event, which will be September 19th and 20th, we look for nonprofit organizations that want to set a table up from 10 to 2 on Saturday. We do a recovery walk with over 400 walkers last year with St. Luke's University Health and Penn Foundation. That's sponsored by the police as well. So go on there. There's going to be Sign Up Genius probably in another month and a half. We'll have a Sign Up Genius. We need about 170 to 180 volunteers, all 2-hour shifts. You can sign up for more than one shift if you want. We have some people that just come in, sign up for 2 hours and stay all day.
Yeah, I believe it.
So it's been amazing. The prayer tent, like you said, is full all the time. We do baptism. We do altar calls, allow the Holy Spirit to move. It's not a forced thing or a certain time, but usually when we have the evening program, and sometimes in the afternoon, we had Irving Fryer share at 2:00 on Saturday, and he had an altar call. Then some young kid came up, and he actually brought him up on the stage and talked to him. Yeah, and so I think, so if you want to sign up, it'll be up on our website probably within a month and a half or so.
Beautiful.
Need a lot of help. If you want to be a sponsor, we'd love to have a sponsor. We actually will be doing a mailing probably the beginning of April with an 8-page brochure. But if you want to go on the website and just send me a note and say, hey, I'd like a brochure because I'm not on your mailing list, I'll mail it out to you. It is about $200,000 to pull off. Now we have. Sure. That's including some in-kind. We have Bergey's Electric powers the whole place for us. Landis Graphics does all the signs. So we have a lot of people willing, and most of the food vendors donate something back. They don't charge us for everything. So it's been amazing to see how many people step up, and they're not all Christians, but then I hear their stories. I'll meet with some people, and they're sharing their story, and I said, why do you want to give back? Because we have mental health in our family, we have addiction in our family, and they'll charge us for some and donate some. So it's amazing. People want to help, but it's a secret it's a stigma to go with all this stuff.
Sure.
So even mental health, it's a huge stigma. People are not willing to share.
And it's so pervasive in our society and our culture. It really is. And you talked about some abuse and things of that nature. Even as a child, individuals carry those abuses through their lives, and they just can't shake it. And we know what will help them or allow them to shake it.
Jesus is the only answer. We know that. Absolutely. But some people have been hurt in the church, and they don't want to. They're not coming back. That's why we took it off the church property now. Yep. So we're in a field. So the last couple of years, and I had people come on the property, don't know how they found me or whatever, but they said, what denomination are you a part of? And I said, we're not. We're faith-based, Christ-centered. And they said, well, I'll never walk in a church again because of what? And they share some of their story of why they felt hurt. Now, some of it's perception, some of it's not maybe reality, but that doesn't matter when it's perception. That's reality to you.
Absolutely.
And some of it, there's more trauma sometimes behind that, what the church did too.
Yes.
So they just blame the church or they blame God for things, but we have to have an answer and just listen to their story. We have a recovery house in Florida. I have friends that send sweatshirts down there every year, and I got a chance to spend time with them 2 years ago. I went down there, and I was going to help in the kitchen. She said, "Oh no, you're not." The lady that's running it said, "You're not going to do that. You're going to sit out here for the next 2 or 3 hours and just listen to everybody's story. They all have a story. They didn't want to become a drug addict. They didn't want to become an alcoholic. They didn't want to do things that they did, and they didn't want to end up in prison." But she says there's a reason why that happened.
Right. There's always a core. There's always a core reason.
Always something there.
Yes.
So it's been an amazing ride for us, and my wife and I, to see. So we don't want it to be about us. It's not, but different people say, well, you have to be the face of it because God gave you the vision. So now we're trying to figure out how do we move forward and build teams so if something happens to me, at least it can continue.
Carry on. Absolutely.
So some of the board members nobody's as old as my wife and I, but we have one 38-year-old board member who's sales and marketing guy, really aggressive, outside the box, which is really good. And then we have a couple other people. We have a CPA that's been working with us in our business for years. And then we have John Yost from the radio station, WBYN radio. So it's only 5 of us on the board. But we know we have to make some changes, but it's hard sometimes because we have unity. We're all worried about how we spend our money because it's God's money. It's not our money. We want to be good stewards. So we're really careful. And if anybody is looking to be a sponsor, I'll be glad to sit down with you and try to share what we do with our money. We're very, very thrifty, but it still costs money. And people say, how can you spend $200,000 for an event? Well, the tent alone is $10,000 with tables and chairs.
Right.
So and then the food is around 30-some thousand. But if your Teen Challenge comes in from Marysburg, almost 2 hours away, they come in on Thursday, help set up all the chairs and tables. They come in for our event on Saturday and Sunday. We had their choir sing the last couple of years. We have Penn Foundation brings their people that are in recovery, and they can't have a penny in their pocket if they're in recovery, because if they would leave the program, they would go buy drugs. So those people couldn't eat. They couldn't get anything if we charged. So that's why. And I guess the one thing that was real clear to me in the beginning, salvation is free. So as long as we have sponsors that are willing to support this, we want to make sure that it's free, and then we'll have donation buckets out, and we raise quite a bit of money that way. But we feel we're making a difference in people's lives. The prayer tent, we have a couple of leaders in the prayer tent. They've been following up. I know the one gal is still following up from 2 years ago from somebody that was struggling in the prayer tent.
Is that right? So
we try to follow up if they want it. And we don't need to ask their name if they don't want to have their name given. But if they're interested, we had some Muslims come on our property 2 years ago, and somebody shared the gospel with them as they came through the entrance, and they went home and brought a bunch more friends.
Did they really?
Don't know what happened with that whole story, but the person that was sharing the gospel with them was excited that they came in their Muslim garb. And so We're asked to plant the seed.
That's right.
God takes care of the harvest.
Exactly. Well, Terry, you're doing some amazing things. You really are. And I know from what I saw, only being at your event once, the people that came through and a variety of different people, but every single thing that they touched was free. And it made a dramatic difference with them. As you say, some of the folks that are coming that are in a recovery, they don't have any money to use.
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing you're doing. We are going to support you and get the word out.
Thank you.
We will do this again at some point in the future, maybe from the event. That would be wonderful. And just if there's anything we can do for you, you just feel free to reach out to us, Terry, anytime.
We appreciate that. One thing I would request, just keep us in prayer for security for that size of an event. We do have 6 police departments involved. We have our own security team, but it's getting more concerning because not everybody likes what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We had somebody 2 years ago, down the street that was trying to make a fuss because we were there because we were Christians. So we have just everybody knows there's security cameras up now. We have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment there. So I think prayer is key, that we need to keep praying over the ministry, not just our ministry, other ministries. There's going to be 70 some ministries there. Pray over that. There's a hedge of protection over it, that we can be safe and we can share the gospel freely. We're living in a good country, but there's a lot of people that don't like what we're doing.
Absolutely. And Terry, we'll get the word out. We're going to get your website up and all the information. Thank you, my friend, for everything you've done. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Well, listen, everyone, I hope you'll go on and get some more information about Terry and his organization. So thank you again. Thank you, Terry. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll talk to you soon, Terry. Thank you.
Blessings, brother.
And bless you, my friend.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take
care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.